Hello to all our listeners. I'm Reed, and this is the second episode of the News Talk podcast. In this episode, we're actually doing something a bit different from the first episode, because in the first episode, we talked about one event, which was the Russia-Ukraine war. If you haven't listened to that one, you should sometime, maybe. But today, we're going to be talking about two topics, one of which is the recent death of Pope Francis, the head of the Catholic Church, and sort of what his career looked like, as well as what's going to happen in the future and the appointment of the new Pope to fill the office, the effect of that, and so on. For our second story, we're going to be talking about the tariffs imposed on other countries, specifically China, by the Trump administration. We're going to be talking about the different aspects of it, including their reasoning and how they've been implemented, as well as their effects on both the American economy and international relations. So, yeah, that's our roadmap for this episode. I think it's going to be a good one. It's going to be interesting for me to talk and hopefully for you to listen, hopefully. So today I'm going to be interviewing a student here at CPP. Actually, a friend of mine. His name is Kunle. That's who I'm going to be interviewing. So this will be an interesting interview, trying out the new format. I think it's going to work well. So I guess let's get into the interview. So, just to start off, what sort of background knowledge do you have about this whole topic?
The Pope. Well, I know he's a good guy who, he had a voice in many things, like the economy, equality. I think he was the first Pope to embrace a gay couple, which is a big step for Christianity. So, yeah, other than that, I don't know much about him.
For those reasons, as well as others, Pope Francis has been greatly liked by some, but has also been controversial with others for challenging the traditions of the church.
I can understand that. For a long period of time, the church has definitely not accepted gay couples, and it has kind of wanted to remain in power while the Pope sought equality. He didn't like differences between classes or standards.
Yeah.
He was a man who liked equality. So
yeah, he was well known for helping the poor and being humble and that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's something that you haven't seen a lot in history, so it's understandable why he wasn't liked by many.
Yeah, so he passed away about a week ago, maybe a bit more now. The Pope died of natural causes the day after Easter, shortly after meeting with Vice President J.D. Vance, which has sparked some jokes on the internet.
This guy, he visits a Pope, a few hours later, he's dead. I'm not saying nothing. But and then J.D. Vance goes to India and Pakistan. I'm not trying to make this politics, but war breaks out?
Yeah, that's for another episode, I guess. Anyway, on May 7th, the Papal Conclave began, which is a meeting of high-ranking Catholic officials to choose the next Pope. And about 2 days later, it was known that they had chosen, and it was Robert Prevost, who was born in the United States. This makes him the first American Pope in world history. Do you think that'll have any effect on his...
A lot of people are happy that an American got made a pope. Don't know what happens in the conclave, but yeah, they
Well,
came to that decision. So I mean, I can't really argue with it. Honestly, my opinions on who becomes the next pope doesn't it doesn't like really how should I say this? It's not something that I really think about a lot because I'm not really into the Catholic Church.
yeah, that's
It will probably affect the lives of Catholics. They'll probably be thinking about this one. Not sure what they'll think. A lot of Americans were happy that, or so I heard, that an American was made pope. But personally, don't really have an opinion.
although it also does seem that some Americans are displeased with the new pope, especially over a social media comment, which seemed to go against Vice President J.D. Vance. Still, it's a bit too early to know for sure how exactly he is going to handle his papacy. So, do you know anything about? I haven't really. There hasn't really been much information on him or his views in much detail so far, or how what's his plan for his term.
Well, I'm sure that he got elected pope because he was able to speak to the other members of the conclave, the cardinals, and get his message out there somewhere. Although I don't know much about it right now, I'm sure that his plans, his ideas will come to life or come to light, and we'll probably get an idea on what this pope plans to do for the remainder of his life, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So it must be sort of persuasive, but also probably has to have support from both the more traditional
Yeah, I definitely
and
think.
the more
Yeah.
progressive.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not I don't follow the Pope very well.
Neither
but
do I a whole lot. It's just,
yeah, I do think that Pope Francis, he was definitely moving more towards the modern times rather than
Yeah.
staying traditional. So I wonder what this Pope's gonna do to, I want to say, satisfy the traditional audience. Well, not audience, members of the Catholic Church. But until I know more, I can't really say much.
Yeah, I think he has some similar views with Francis on climate change which I think is a really good thing because I
Yeah,
think that
that's-
could have a big impact.
That's definitely something that I feel like someone as influential as the Pope should have opinions on. Because climate change is something that affects us for the remainder of
And it's
of
everyone,
Earth.
not just
Yeah.
one religious group or
Yeah, it's
group of people.
It's just people in general. So I think it's important that someone as influential as the Pope has some opinions there, does something to hopefully improve it, says something to convince people who don't believe in it to that it's not good. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So. We also have another topic to talk about today, which is the recent tariffs that have been placed by the Trump administration.
Yes, those. I've been loosely but still pretty much following them. I remember April 2nd, I think it was Liberation Day he called it.
Yeah, when he put all the tariffs on other countries.
Oh, the drop. Whew. I mean, I know a lot of investors before Liberation Day pulled out, and some people, while all the stocks were just falling to their knees, were buying in because, I mean, it was some great low prices.
Yeah, because what the tariffs do basically would put a tax on anything imported to the U.S., which would increase the cost of shipping those things into the U.S., and then the seller would increase the price to make up for that.
Yeah, so from what I've heard, basically what happens is these things get imported from China, which there's a current deal going on.
Yeah, recently there was a delay, like a 90-day delay for the Chinese tariffs.
Yeah,
Also, yeah, a while ago, I think he did call off most of them because he had planned for a lot of countries, and then most of them didn't get put in place or got revoked.
Yeah, a lot of tariffs got paused, trying to enter a trade deal with China and Canada, because they're like really big people when it comes to trading. I mean, Canada supplies us with power. They start taxing power, lighting bills go up. I mean, China, just check your t-shirt tags, check your shoes, I mean...
Yeah, everything comes from there, because labor is cheap, like, and it's not necessarily ethical, perhaps, but it's cheap, and it's what most of our products are sort of built on.
Yeah, and I think it was very unreasonable. I think it was 154% tax. I mean, what the seller does is they import that. That's 154% more that they have to pay. So they're like, I don't want these losses. Let me put that on the consumer. So the consumer has to pay it. And ain't nobody want to pay 154% more for that Nike t-shirt. They want to play PE.
Yeah, Trump's 100-day approval rating for his actions on the economy were really low, like a historic low.
I think it's because people started seeing those tariffs at the stores. I mean, I know some small businesses closed because of them, and a lot of people just, before the tariffs fully were in effect, they stockpiled. And I actually heard something funny. Basically, something that some companies do, I'm not saying like every company does it, but what they do they would watch Trump's tweets and the White House tweets to see
what they should invest in.
What business deals do I do next? Do I want to start importing now or wait a little bit?
Yeah, because one thing that's really been characteristic of the economic policy is that it's been really unpredictable. Tariffs getting placed, tariffs getting revoked, saying that it won't affect prices, saying that it will affect prices. It's really been hard to tell what's going to happen in weeks or months.
At the beginning of the administration, it was said that these tariffs might hurt a little bit, but it's for future gain. It's gonna get better. And then it hurt a lot of it. And then it was like, oh, we'll be fine.
Yeah, because it was all part of an effort to move manufacturing to the U.S. The thing about that is we don't really have the infrastructure for that right now.
So here's where I can like split my vote here. I think Trump's idea to bring people manufacturing to America is a good idea. The problem with that is he never helped the local businesses. Yes, he stopped people, he disencouraged people from importing things in, trying to make companies move into the U.S., but the problem is he never supported the U.S. He only taxed us. He didn't give us anything.
And also another thing I think is that it would take a long time to build these factories, and you would need a lot of laborers to man these factories. More people than are, I think, who want to work in a factory. I don't think there are many people that want to work in a factory when they can do something else, which is what they're doing right now.
This is the problem with deporting all of these migrants. They were doing these jobs that no one wanted to do because they didn't really have a choice. If they wanted to stay here, they needed these jobs. But now they're gone. And these factories that are built in foreign countries, they work day and night 24/7 to build these things. In America, they got schedules, they got deadlines, yes, but they don't work around the clock. They got their shift. When they're off their shift, they take the lunch break, they go home. And In other countries, it's okay, take lunch break, you go to work. Okay, I'm on my lunch break, okay, I'm back to work. And it's like these factories that are supposed to help us out, they will take probably years. And some might not even be done before the second Trump administration's over.
Yeah. So going back to the earlier I mentioned, there was a pause on the tariffs on China, which were the biggest tariffs, the highest tax rate, and they were paused for 90 days. What do you think is going to happen at the end of those 90 days?
I think China and the US are going to realize that neither one is benefiting from these, so they're probably going to drop these down so that no one's going to have to pay these insane prices.
Yeah, China's been very, very critical, I think, of this whole thing. They've just made sure everybody knows that they do not approve of these.
Yeah, well, some places were tanking these, saying they didn't like this. China said, no, you're not doing that to us. We're a leader here too. So they hit back, and I think that kind of escalated the situation. I'm not blaming China. These tariffs never should have been placed in the first place, but I think that China fighting back is what started this massive trade war.
Yeah. So there are also, like, some talks going on still. Do you think they're going to be successful in finding a good compromise, or is somebody going to not feel
I think
like
if the Trump administration has common sense, they will drop it. And I think if China likes making money, they will drop it. Because I know that both sides, this isn't helping. And it's just become more expensive for both China and America. It's hurting their consumers. And China has like a lot of people that can get hurt by this. So it's not really helping either side. So I think that at the end of these talks, that there will probably be a resolution. It may not be the perfect resolution, but it most likely will be there.
yeah. So just getting like to like looking at the big picture, what do you think these will have like in the future? Like, do you think this is getting us on like to have a better track to improve our infrastructure, or do you think it's just going to cause our economy to get worse in the long term after the Trump term ends?
I think this trade war will be a regrettable blemish on U.S. history. I can't really speak because the Trump administration has just been wild with this. It's back and forth, tariffs, no tariffs. We're pausing, we're going. And
No negotiation. Right?
yeah, it's just, I can't really predict what's going to come in the next 3 years of the second administration. But I do hope that this just remains an unfortunate part of the Trump administration and won't come back to bite us in the future. Of course, companies might have to raise prices for a brief moment, but I think if the economy comes back to settle and everything keeps going as normal, then prices will begin to return to normal.
I sure hope so. Anyway, thank you for coming on the show. It's been really great talking to you about these topics. So, to all our listeners out there, thank you for listening. Stay informed and join us next week on News Talk.